People of the UK stuck at home with no one to bone. How are we? I hope you're all very, very, very well. I'm very well. And I hope that, like me, you've been blessed with lots and lots of snow this weekend. So, welcome to the third of these alternative press conferences avec moi, Rafe Hubris. As ever, I will be telling you, all the shit that's going down in government, straight from number 10. And then at the end, you can ask me whatever you like. We've got two options for that today. So you can either follow the Zoom link, which I believe is in the YouTube chat, to come and ask me a question live, which is very exciting. Or if you're a wetty or, atrociously ugly, you can just submit your questions on YouTube. But really do come and chat to me because it's always absolutely classic. Anyway, let's chat the business. To be honest, not really sure, what we're doing here this week. I mean, everything's going very, very, very well. I mean, vaccines, loads of them. EU, Brexit, Ursula von Dracula and Emmanuel Macron are having a fucking meltdown. So that's great. And, the days are getting longer. We're getting closer to the summer. So that means Carrie's wearing much shorter skirts. So, all is looking positive. I mean, she's a great girl. Carrie, very, very good girl. But yeah, I mean, it's been a great week. Yeah, even for Matt Cockney's hand. I mean, look at this photo op that I organized. Look at that. Look at his little face. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, this is a photo op there that I organized of him sort of getting an anal COVID swab. I mean, look, he's just so happy. I mean, this was taken moments after Lindsay Hoyle was rifling around his chamber. And as you can see, he is fucking loving it. He's thrilled. And then Carrie's there in the foreground in disguise as someone useful. But it was a PR masterpiece, And speaking of PR, I should say, we're looking at the next stage of COVID now. And given that when this is all over, there is likely to be an inquiry, I on the advice of my QC godfather, would like to read the following statement. So here we are. I, Rafe Hubris, promise I followed the science, the whole science, and nothing but the science. So help me God. Father, sorry, his writing's difficult to make out. While some might say there was a global pandemic during my period of employment with the UK government, I have no such recollection of a pandemic, epidemic, or any other global health crisis. It is therefore with great regret that I am unable to comment on or take responsibility for any aspect of anything that relates to or pertains to any such allegations of a pandemic. Right. Well, now that's over. Lovely. Let's sort of all think, together about, who we can actually blame, because that is an important question. I think we should workshop that, think of this as a sort of a focus group. So yeah, I think, I'm going to present three options now of people that we can blame. Do keep making sure that you ask questions in the YouTube chat as we go. But yeah, so I'll present you with three options, three ministers. You vote in the chat as I present them, and at the end we'll have someone who we can blame, which is wonderful. So number one, Matt Cock in his hands. We show that picture. Matt Cock in his hands. I mean, obviously, he's a very obvious candidate for this. If there was a lack of PPE in the health service, wouldn't this be something to do with the health secretary? I don't want to lead you to water here, but in the words of Jackie Weaver, he has authority in this domain. He's also, he's got a guilty Nancy face, doesn't he? Look at it. And he's also very likely to shit himself if he gets sent to prison, which would be absolutely classic. So that's worth bearing in mind. Option D, on to the next picture, is Alok Sharma. Great for diversity, obviously. Also, nobody knows who the hell he is. If you're falling in a forest and you don't make a sound, if you're falling in a forest and no one hears it, and have you made a sound? Can you kill the invisible man? These are all sort of philosophical debates I've had in Oxford JCRs many times over the years, and you can have it in a much more sort of basic, fundamental way here to work out whether or not we should blame him. Now, if we move on to option 3, oh God, sorry, no, that's my Tinder bio. That's not for you to vote on. Sorry. So your next picture. Oh, sorry. I mean, there's right now. And next, keep going through. This is so embarrassing. I mean, it's literally. I mean, it is for you to vote on, obviously, because it's literally a case of swipe left or right, and you probably should swipe right. But I don't want to put things in your mouth. But keep. Oh shit! There's another one. There's another. Come on, surely. Oh god, that is truly embarrassing. Anyway, let that percolate. On to the next, please. I think we're. Yeah. Like okay. Yeah. Ah, I think, chaps, we may have found our man, Chris Whitty, Chief Medical Officer. I mean, that sounds like he's chiefly responsible for medical things. I mean, it's not for me to say he's in charge of medical matters, but, professor who advises El Governmentios on infectious diseases sounds pretty close to the line to me. I mean, obviously, enough for the finger wagging. It's not all about that. But perhaps, chaps, if it looks like gag and it smells like gag, possibly it's gag, and I mean, the clue might well be in the name. Do keep putting do keep going to the Zoom link. Do keep putting your votes in, and do keep asking questions on YouTube. Anyway, chaps, as I say, we've presented those three options. As Anton Dick would say, the vote is now open. No, sorry, that's Geordie. The vote is now open. So yeah. God, I'm very good. Anyway, right, so to vote Hancock, type the word Hancock in the YouTube chat box. For Sharma, type Sharma. And for Chris Whitty, type, it was your fucking job to know what was going on, guilty. Okay, so yeah, get voting, submit the questions for me, and we'll see who the great British public thinks is to blame and work that one out very, very efficiently on a Sunday night. Lovely. We can work out who's culpable for a crisis that I cannot stress enough I was not involved in. Anyway, time for some questions. I believe we now have a question from a member of public. Sorry, I was correct. She's called Jane. I think Jane, go ahead.
Hello. I was wondering how the government intends to restart the economy once this crisis is over.
Thanks, Jane. Gosh, yes, it really is good to have a genuine, real member of the public asking. We really do have our finger on the pulse there. In fact, that's quite a challenging question. I mean, I really wasn't prepared for that, Jane, but I'll give it a go. Look, I think we need to think dynamically, about getting the government and the economy back on its feet. Obviously, we had the Eat Out to Help Out scheme, thanks to Rich, back in the summer. And, I think it's kind of off the top of my head, a really good way of doing this would perhaps be to sort of Eat Out to Help Out, help really kind of reward the people and the drug dealers who work so hard in our gig economy, and have a legalized cocaine period, the snort to sort, the economy. Too much snorting on my part. The snort to sort the economy. And I think that would work really well. You need to have a legalization period of GAC, and you get a lot more people on it. And I think that there are certainly other potential drug-related ways of stimulating the economy we can put in the pipeline, such as the inject hash to inject cash scheme, and our forthcoming bitter pill to swallow scheme. So I would really, there's stuff in the pipeline there. Okay, 80% voting for cock in his hands so far. Yeah, why change the habit of a lifetime? I mean, the guy is, I mean, the thing is, he's probably the least culpable of all three of those, and yet it's just funny to blame him, isn't it? So keep those votes coming in. That's lovely, lovely stuff. We've got a question now from Mr. Hamilton Stubber. Mr. Hamilton Stubber.
Mate, it's a well-known fact that the government handed out very lucrative PPE contracts to the good chaps at the start of the pandemic. When COVID's over, how will the government continue to help out its mates?
Well, thank you very much, Hugo. Sorry, Mr. Hamilton Stubber. Listen, mate, I think, this is obviously something we take very, 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 very seriously. Because, that's not a joke, helping out your mates. It's super important. And, I think there's loads of ways, that we can make sure that our mates get paid. For example, appearance fees for charity cricket matches. That's a very good way to do it. Or, just sort of coming into number 10, opening the door for 10 minutes. That's got to be worth a couple of $100,000. So, there's a variety of creative ways we can do it. I wouldn't worry. We will be in touch. We will be looking out for you guys. But yeah, lovely to have a bit of diversity on the call. You don't need to see that many posh people on the BBC. So that's super nice. Chaps, do keep coming into the Zoom chat. I very, very much look forward to chatting with you very, very soon. I hear it's I hear it swelling like Blojo's crotch after he's looked at a married woman. Right, David James, or is it, sorry, David Richards from The Independent. Is it David James? David Blaine? I don't know.
You struck. But at the same time, people look at the vaccination.
Mate, your voice is fucked. There's some sort of terrible, there's some sort of awful filter going on there with his voice. That's we're gonna have to set that off. Okay, on to Peston. Robert Peston has a question. Robert Peston.
People are scared and confused.
No, it's the same filter, mate. It's the same filter.
We know.
Peston, sorry.
Lockdown.
That's it's not working. For whatever reason, everyone sounds like an idiot. So no good there. Sorry, mate. I mean, God forbid you actually sound like that. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, it looks as though Gavin Williamson is clearly running that feed. So yes, Josh from London, I believe, has a question. Josh.
Rafe, how do you know that the South African variant actually started in South Africa?
Well, Josh, thank you very much for that question. And do I detect a South African accent there, old chap?
Yes, I'm actually from South Africa.
Oh, excellent. One of the former colonies, in fact. So it's very lovely to welcome you back to the UK. I mean, God, what are you doing here? Why have you? I mean, well, obviously, I mean, it's a great country, but I mean, is there any other reason? Are you spreading the virus?
I am not spreading the virus. I saw better opportunities for myself here, but I feel that our country's been personally attacked without much evidence for there being an actual strain of coronavirus from South Africa. How did they know that this strain actually mutated there and, wasn't actually brought there from a Brit on holiday to South Africa and then came back to England with a bunch of South Africans?
Well, it's a very interesting question, Josh, and thank you very much for asking it. Listen, I think you seem to have a real vested interest in defending South Africa. And I mean, I don't think we can rule out that it was potentially you coming over here, bringing your terrible virus. But fundamentally, I don't think we're that worried about that one. I mean, it's nothing that the Oxford vaccine can't deal with, because that is a fucking good vaccine. So yeah, in fact, it's just better than all other vaccines, especially, I mean, there isn't even a Cambridge vaccine, but if there was, it would be better. So yeah, basically not particularly worried. So I wouldn't get too stressed about all this rhetoric around South Africa and all that stuff, because Oxford can manage it. But thank you very much for your question. Harriet Fisher has a question. Harriet.
Hiya, I'm actually from the north, so you might need subtitles for this one.
Yeah, Poppy, can you sort that out, please? Thank you. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was actually wondering if you had any insight as to why it's so easy to pick up a viral infection in the streets these days, but so challenging to go viral on TikTok.
Yeah, that's a very, very interesting question. Sorry, I'm just waiting for the full translation. Sorry, Harriet.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Delay.
TikTok. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, it's a very interesting question. Well, listen, I think we are very, very able at the Conservative Party to, we understand viruses in the streets, in the sheets, and online through TikTok. I mean, we have, in fact, a lot of very perceptive, interesting social media ideas, around cock in his hands. I think it'll be very easy to get cock in his hands to go viral doing the Busset dance, for example. So I would challenge the premise in your question. Gosh, is that a teddy bear behind you?
No.
No. Or is that your boyfriend or some sort of elaborate sex toy or something? I mean, I don't know what goes on in the north.
Oh no, it was a teddy. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Hilarious. No, listen. I think why is it easy to pick up viruses and hard to go viral? I mean, it's not. It's pretty easy to go viral. It's. I think the thing I would say is don't get off with people in the street, and then that might sort of solve some of your problems. Ashley Costello from YouTube has a question. It's typed, sorry. And Anthony Costello, I said Anthony Costello, like Elvis Costello's brother, which is clearly not. I mean, he may be watching, but it's unlikely. He says, COVID seems to have resurrected Tony Blair's political career. Which other former politician would the government like to take advice from And what could they suggest? I mean, well, possibly Keir Starmer, given the the nail in that man's coffin after the, oh, is it the European Medical Commission? Oh, it isn't. It is. Yeah, he's got no credibility left. I mean, the guy's a loser. No, but it is really good to see Tony Blair. It's great to see a Tory doing well. And he's done wonderfully. But yeah, I mean, I think it would be great to see DC come back. I mean, I think he's been really unfairly, victimized for the stuff he did with the pig, which was classic. We've all done things like that, and for sort of creating the steps to cause Brexit, and you can't hold him responsible for that. So yeah, it would be good to see DC back. But it would be great to resurrect Maggie Thatcher. I mean, I would love that. I think we'd all really benefit. I think she's a softer touch than some of than Priti Patel, for example. So it would be nice to sort of get her to teach Priti Patel some compassion. So yeah, that will be my answer to that question. Do keep asking questions in YouTube, and do keep visiting Zoom to ask one live. I've got another question from Martin Main. Has a question, Martin.
Hey, I just do you fully agree that it was the right thing to do to roll the vaccine out to the most vulnerable first, or were there any alternatives considered?
Yeah, thanks very much. Thanks very much for that, Matthew. Yeah, it's an interesting question, because I sort of think, it makes more sense to roll the vaccine out to the most classic first. And certainly the highest net individuals, that probably makes most sense, economically speaking. The vulnerable will be dead soon, so it's a bit of a waste. And no one wants to be around someone who's moping and, oh, I'm weak, I don't have an immune system. So yeah, I mean, I think the real victims here are the chaps, like me and people in Clapham and Fulham who we can't go out and socialise, and that is shit, and it's very unfair. So we are trying to address that, but we have a lot of woke people in the Conservative Party, unfortunately, who think we should prioritise vulnerable. Have you had the vaccine? Martin?
Not myself, no. I know of a few people that have had it, but I'm looking forward to getting that jab and getting down the pub.
It's just quite a bleak background there, old chap. It seems like quite a vulnerable setting. I'll have a word with Blojo and see if we can sort you one out ASAP, Rocky. All right, mate, thanks very much. On to the next question, I believe. Who's that from? Do keep asking them in the YouTube chat. They are always classic. Colette W. Clearly too good to have a fully formed second name. Colette.
Yeah, I have a question for Gavin Williamson.
Yeah, well, I'm not Gavin Williamson, but I will try to answer it. Your video's not on, old girl, so it would be good to...
All right, sorry. Yeah, I have a question for Gavin Williamson. He seems to think that schools are closed, so I'd like to know where I've been going for the last 6 weeks.
Well, Colette, I mean, the answer to that question rests with you. I mean, I have no idea what you get up to, but with your background and things that go on, it's fairly exotic. Goodness gracious me. Those, no, they're not red lights in the background, but they look like they could turn into a red setting. Listen, Gav doesn't really know what's going on with schools. Let's be honest. Gav doesn't know what day of the week it is. Gav can't even spell his surname. I mean, that's sort of what we're dealing with. But it is great to have a fall guy who, if shit really hits the fan, Gav will sit and and sweat in front of Piers Morgan and Kay Burley. Well, not Kay Burley anymore, obviously. But he will go and sit in front of those journalists practicing scrutiny. So yeah, don't be too hard on him. No one actually credibly intelligent could have taken the role on.
Right. Okay. It makes me feel better that he doesn't really understand, because he could probably do with a few lessons.
Well, maybe you could teach him. Actually, so I take it implicitly that you are a teacher. Do you teach English?
I teach everything. I'm a primary teacher. I teach 11-year-olds.
Oh, that's brilliant. You could really be incredibly helpful for Matt Cock in his hands. Just to sort of allow him to get to the end of a sentence. That'd be brilliant. So I will link the two of you up, because that would be really, really helpful. I believe someone's voted for Chris Whitty on the YouTube chat. Thank you, Colette. I believe someone's voted for Chris Whitty on the YouTube chat. Do keep those votes coming in for who we should blame for coronavirus. We will blame someone. We will make sure it is someone. There's a very sizable vote for Cock in his hands so far, but I wouldn't be too fast not to blame Whitty. I mean, all I'm saying is maybe that kid on TikTok had something to say that was valuable. Rich Sims has got a question from YouTube. What can the government do to encourage uptake of the vaccine, especially amongst minority groups? Yeah, very good question. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, as speaking as a minority, you know, what I would say is I think, you know, you have to sort of play to what they want. So, you know, if you say to chaps like me, you know, who live in Fulham, you know, you won't ever lose your signet ring if you take the vaccine, you know, peddling things like that, that will be a very effective way to help, you know, to help increase uptake, I would say. But yeah, listen, we're super focused on minorities in the Conservative Party, particularly the best one. Yusuf, oh no, Robert Manners has a question. Robert Manners, Robert.
Hello, I'd like to know whether Jackie Weaver of the Hanford Parish Council is the way forward with her eject button on Zoom.
You could be quite right, Robert. I mean, everyone's been very well behaved thus far on the Zoom, but listen, yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a lot to that. I mean, you know, in future weeks, Peston is a real pain in the arse, and then that Sam Blake from ITV, he sounds like he's got a rod up his arse all the time. I mean, I think the eject button would be a very good solution for a lot of them. And I mean, you know, we've applied the eject button in actual terms to a lot of starving migrants, and that's worked very, very well. So yeah, why not extend that to Zoom? And yeah, I can eject anyone you want me if you just let me know. Give me the bell, and I will sort it out for you. No worries. Yusuf Tor. Oh, his name's got like an umlaut on it. How exotic. I do hope you're enriching our culture and not claiming benefits. He said, what do you think about mixing and matching vaccination types, e.g. Oxford followed by a Pfizer? I mean, look, mate, I mean, you can do that in the same way that you can go and buy, you know, a suit from Reese, and then you can go and buy one from Primark, if you like. I mean, I don't think it'll benefit you. You know, I think what we're trying to make sure happens is, you know, everyone who has studied at Oxford, and they have, gets the Oxford vaccine, you know, because it's the best. And I think you should act accordingly, old chap. But if you want to go the Primark route, go the Primark route. Do keep submitting your questions in YouTube and following the link to Zoom and chatting avec moi on there. This is always classic. Gary Smith says, since the only thing Britain has been able to export since Brexit is COVID variants, is the government looking at ways to export other dangerous illnesses abroad? Well, he's actually written aboard, but I believe it is abroad. Just important semantic difference there. I think, and the question that hinges, you know, very largely on when Blojo can next go on holiday, because, you know, as soon as Blojo's out, you know, in the Costa del Sol, the Caribbean, or whatever, you know, you're going to start to see a great, you know, much greater sort of preponderance of, you know, scabies and chlamydia and, you know, other sort of classic diseases like that. So yeah, he will be looking to do that, but it, you know, it depends when the restrictions get lifted and that can happen. So yes, we will be looking to export other stuff, absolutely, but give us time. Okay, thanks very much, mate. Sam Hayhurst has a question. Sam.
Good evening. You've had a lot of problems with in-party fighting about lockdowns and whether they should continue or be lifted. Arguably, you haven't done a great job of dealing with these. A lot of anti-lockdown sentiment still persists. My question for you very much echoes that of Robert Manners. Are you up to the task? Should Jackie Weaver stand in and let Hanforth take over Downing Street?
Well, thank you very much for that question. It's very reassuring. I believe Robert Manners was rifling through his own wallet there as you were asking that question. And it's lovely to see that we have some really established Conservative Party members on the call. Although ashamed to see that you've forgotten to shave for this old chap. Try to make a bit more of an effort next time. Anyway, do I think that Jackie Weaver would be the best way to sort the infighting dons of the Conservative Party? Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you know, as bolshy and headstrong as Jackie Weaver is, I don't think she'd be anything, you know, she wouldn't last against, you know, Bully Patel's mace. You know, she is an absolute hooligan. So, you know, it just, I mean, it would be great to try and get her in, but I don't think that much would be achieved. You know, and I think fundamentally, everything seems to be going broadly all right at the moment. You know, we've got rid of Big Daddy Cum Cum after the Big Daddy Cum Cum Carrie Simmons, Princess Nut Nut spat, or they don't tell her I called her Princess Nut Nut, she'll she'll kill me. But yeah, no, I think so. Just, yeah, there's been a bit of infighting, but broadly, I think we're all, we've got quite a good core group now. Particularly Gav and Matt Cock on his hands, and me, Blojo, and Billy Patel. Chap, do I sense that you're a conservative from asking that question? You said you clearly take a keen interest, although a bearded conservative.
I'm waiting to be persuaded. But secondly, I have another question, which is more.
Oh my gosh, how greedy of you! You must be a conservative.
Number of the COVID deaths, are they a tragedy, or in the words of your father, are they more stupid deaths?
Yes. He's of course referring to the fact that my father is an established actor. Yes. Listen, are they a tragedy? Are they stupid deaths? Well, they're dead. So, they're not here anymore. So, whatever I say doesn't really matter. Basically, it's in the past. And you can't dwell on the past. You've got to dwell on the present and the future. Just like if you've done like loads and loads of gack, you can't be thinking about that. You've got to get on with your night. You've got to try and enjoy yourself. Yeah, it's tragedies when the feeling's gone and you can't go on, as the Bee Gees once said. So fundamentally, just focus on the present rather than dwelling on what we may or may not have done. I mean, I think by all accounts, everyone's let us off the hook. So let's just go with that. Thank you, old chap. Carlo Colacan asks on YouTube, you give us a bit of background on the Jacob Rees-Mogg and Nanny relationship. It comes across a little suspect. I mean, that's not phrased as a question, but I will phrase it as a question. Can you give us a little bit of background on the Jacob Rees-Mogg and Nanny relationship? It comes across as a little suspect. Always remember your semantics. Listen, Nanny is a top geezer. I mean, she is fucking classic. She's been there in Monk's Court. I mean, she's the first to bring in pints, and she's the last out of the terrace bar. She's absolutely, she's great. We're all massive fans of Nanny, and she's done everything for Rees-Mogg for a very, very long time. We love her, and I think everyone should have a Nanny. And they're just wonderful. They really are. I mean, suspect. I think what's more suspect is Rees-Mogg's views on slavery, which I don't want to get into, obviously. But yeah, I mean, look, fundamentally, she's fine. Okay, on to the next question from Max Edwards. It's will the government be utilizing Instagram influencers to help get the message across that we all need to be vaccinated? Well, absolutely. We're very pleased to have a variety in tow, and kind of like I said earlier, with Matt Cock in his hands doing the Busset dance, we're really keen to sort of combine influencers and politicians. So it would be great, if some of the Love Island girls could teach Gavin Williamson what language means. That would be amazing. And the same for Matt Cock in his hands. That would be fabulous. And so yeah, I think we're all about social media presence. We've really got our finger on the pulse there. And yeah, I mean, and obviously we can't put Blojo too close to the Love Island girls because that'll be absolute fucking carnage. But yeah, no, I think it makes absolute sense to try and utilize those chaps. The vote is in. Okay, voting is now closed, chaps. Voting is now closed for who to blame for the COVID deaths. We will come to that in a little bit. But Martin, I believe, has a question. And he says, any views on GB News? I mean, that's rather... Oh, Andrew Neil's new news channel. Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with Andrew Neil particularly. I mean, he's a good chap. I mean, obviously, I'm a super big fan of the BBC. It's great that we've got a Tory in charge of that now. Apart from that, not the best thing, but yeah, I've got nothing against Andrew Neil personally. I mean, he was grilling Ed Miliband pretty hard this morning, which was lovely to see. So yeah, I'm sure it'll be a wonderful source of news. Okay, so the results are in, chaps. The results are in of who to blame for the COVID pandemic. And I am very, very pleased to say, unanimously, with 96% of the vote, you voted for, and get the picture ready, please, to show if we can. You voted for Okay, the picture's just getting ready. Are you ready? Very, very exciting news. Okay, you chaps, 96% of the vote voted for Mad Cock in his hands. I don't know why it showed me. I was not responsible. Oh God, not the Tinder again. That is so embarrassing. Fuck. If you see that, do swipe right, but no, that's not who we voted for. There he is, Matt Cock in his hands. Matt Cock in his hands. We're blaming, it was kind of a bit pretty visible anyway, wasn't it? We were gonna blame him, to be honest. Actually, just go back to the Tinder for a second, if you can. Yeah, great. And then the other one? The other one, yeah, that one. That is a prime picture, isn't it? That's Rafe Hubris outside his house, loving life. And chaps, I think that's a very nice point to end. It's been a real riot. We're back next week. Do make sure that you submit your questions for us to ask. Do come on the Zoom. Do ask a question. It's absolutely fun. Absolutely classic fun. Is what I was going to say. And yeah, in the meantime, stay inside if you can. All right, chaps. Cheers. Chat soon. Cheers. Ciao.